Monk often feels weak early in Path of Exile. Enemies deal heavy damage, survivability feels inconsistent, and progression can feel punishing. This is a common experience for newer Monk players. In this video, we will explain why Monk feels weak early and the specific adjustments that make early gameplay more stable and manageable. Monk often feels weak early because it operates in close range, while most defensive systems are not yet fully developed. Unlike ranged or minion builds, Monk must remain near enemies to deal damage, which naturally increases the number of hits taken during combat. Early progression also limits access to layered defenses, such as consistent mitigation, recovery, and avoidance. Because of this, Monk relies heavily on positioning and basic survivability during leveling. New players often assume the issue is low damage or poor gear quality. However, in most cases, early Monk deaths are caused by defensive gaps rather than damage output. Missing life on gear, uncapped elemental resistances, or reliance on a single defensive mechanic can lead to sudden deaths, even in lower-level content. These weaknesses are more noticeable on Monk because the class does not have strong passive protection early on. As progression continues and defensive layers are added, Monk gameplay becomes more stable and forgiving. The way to improve early Monk survivability is prioritizing life and elemental resistances. Early damage investment provides limited value if survivability is low. Increasing maximum life and reducing incoming elemental damage prevents sudden deaths and allows more room for mistakes. Life should be present on most gear pieces whenever possible during leveling. Elemental resistances also play a critical role in early survivability. Even partial resistance coverage significantly reduces incoming damage from common enemy abilities. Evasion and block are strong defensive mechanics later in progression, but early on they are inconsistent when used alone. Without sufficient life and resistances, these mechanics cannot reliably prevent damage spikes. Layering basic defenses first creates a more consistent and forgiving leveling experience. When Monk damage feels weak early, the issue is often scaling rather than gear rarity. Raw weapon upgrades do not always translate into meaningful damage increases during leveling. Instead, attack speed, skill interactions, and passive synergy often provide greater damage improvements. Many players rely on tooltip damage to evaluate performance. However, tooltip damage does not represent real combat effectiveness. It does not account for uptime, positioning, enemy behavior, or skill mechanics. Adjusting skill links, choosing passives that enhance scaling, and improving consistency often result in immediate damage gains. These changes usually provide more impact than additional farming or higher rarity gear early on. Monk rewards patience and controlled engagement. Attempting to face tank enemies or overcommitting to combat frequently results in unnecessary deaths. Monk performs best when engagements are chosen carefully and positioning is actively maintained. Frequent repositioning, disengaging when overwhelmed, and managing enemy density significantly improve survivability. As defensive layers come online later in progression, Monk gameplay becomes smoother and more forgiving. Early patience directly translates into long-term consistency. Monk's early game can feel punishing, but the class becomes significantly more consistent with proper defensive priorities and scaling. This overview is based on experience in the current league and is intended for newer Monk players. For more Monk content focused on survivability, progression, and future hardcore gameplay, consider subscribing.